Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the House of Commons. My name is Pascal Atuma, and today we have a special kind of show for you. I'm just going to say to my left, your name is?
Infinite.
And?
Lil Inf.
Lil Inf and?
Ola George.
Ola George. Welcome guys to the House of Commons. House of Commons.
Welcome.
That's right. Good job. Yes, like we said, we are shooting this one out of Toronto, Canada. LD and Annie and Co, they are getting ready to shoot in the US too. So you guys want a show. We want to keep giving you guys a show. You guys are going to love it. This is House of Commons. Today we have a special topic. Our topic for today is fatherhood. Fatherhood in the black community. So having been in Canada, working in Canada, in and out of Canada, I looked in to see I need to find the right combination of example, the right example for fatherhood in black community, and I couldn't come up with anybody better than this father and the son.
Yes.
Their relationship is exemplary, guys. So I'm gonna let Infinite introduce himself, fully tell you who he is. You guys are looking at how many times Juno award-winning rapper.
Right.
You tell them, bro. You tell them. I don't want to shortchange you. You feel me?
Yeah.
You tell them.
Okay, well, beginning of my career, we started out as kids, and we were very successful because we stuck at what we were doing. We believed in what we were doing, and at that time, no other rap group had ever made it to that level as a group. So I mean, hitting the American streams and hitting international streams and winning 2 Juno Awards and then going as a solo artist.
2 Juno Awards.
2 Juno Awards, yes. Okay. And that was the first time an underground hip-hop group has won a Juno Award, you know what I mean?
And what year was this?
You know, we started out early, so we won in 95 and 96.
You won Juno Awards in 95 and 96.
That's we were kids, yeah.
Bro, how old are you?
We were kids.
That's how we were 21.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's your background.
Yeah.
So that's my background.
And this is your son.
This is my son.
Wow. You know, when people see 2 of you, they might think you guys are friends.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people think that we're brothers when we go outside, you know, so.
Wow,
I think the first time I met you guys, and then when you came together, I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys look the same.
It's like a mini me right there.
Yeah.
Wow, and you, what's your name again?
Dashawn Francis, aka Lil Inf.
Okay, it's Infinite.
Infinite.
So you're a little Infinite.
Lil Infinite.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That is sweet. That is sweet. And then tell us a little bit about at what point in your life did you make up your mind that, hey, I'm gonna be this? Did you have this kind of father relationship with your own dad growing up?
You know what? I had a relationship with my dad, but it wasn't like this, you know? But I mean, now we have a great relationship, you know what I'm saying? Growing up with my dad was, you know, was an experience, just learning things, like, you know, he's teaching his son, you know? But I mean, being involved in the same thing, like me and my father wasn't involved with the same thing. We're more closer in that sense, like we're brothers, you know? And even speaking on the name Little Inf, he actually got that name. I didn't give him that name, he didn't give himself that name. He got that name in daycare. They called him Little Inf because they knew that I was an entertainer.
Oh,
so when I went to, did you know that?
So they already had it.
I think you're telling me something about that.
We went to a play one day, that he was in a play, and he came out, everybody had their name on their hat. And his name was Lil Inf.
Yeah.
So ever since then, it was Little Inf.
It's stuck.
Yeah. So he got that when he was like
you were
3 years old.
You
know?
Okay, so before we proceed, let's ask all our own questions so that we can tie this in. Ola, what was your relationship with your dad? How your father in your life, not being in your life, was in your life, was not in your life? How did he help you? How did he help to build you as a woman, the woman that you turned out to be today?
Oh, absolutely. He's an integral part of exactly the woman I am right now. So I had a good relationship with my father. The thing with my father was he believed that tough love was the way to go. So, but yet now the funny thing is, as the years have gone by, I look back and I respect it even more now because I could look back at it. But growing up, grew up in Edmonton, Alberta. My parents were Trinidadian parents, and they moved here to Toronto, reconnected with each other, then had my brother here in Toronto, then had me in Edmonton, Alberta. And we were out there because he was a welder, steam fitter. So half of the time my father was at home. For 6 weeks at a time, he goes away off to where the oil area is, you know, all of these areas up north, you know, and then we would go visit him. And then like every 6 weeks, we'll go up to him where the hotel is or a house if he's renting out a house. And then he'll come back to where we were located at that time. Every 6 weeks or so. It's called shutdowns. And then after, he'll be off work for like 6 months, and then we would travel a lot. So for my father, what I actually got from my father is anything to do with history, my love for myself. I remember at a very, very young age, so before I even started school, I learned African history, Black history. I learned that.
Your father taught you that?
Yes, my father, my mother, but specifically my father. My name is Ola George. That is both Ola and Ife is Nigerian names.
That's a nice name. Okay.
Both Ola means...
But your father is not from Nigeria.
No, my father and my mother were from Trinidad. But my father and my mother were it was very important for them to pass on. Because my father was Matthew George and my mother was Linda George. So you can see their names. But then their children, my brother Jamal George, my sister Isha George, and myself, Ola George. And then my brother is the one who has the children right now, so he's carried on the trend with the names, and I will do the same. But for him, it was from Trinidad. There was a legacy that has been passing down from like the 70s into the 80s, where everybody was kind of that movement of understanding your past. My father was a part of the Black Panther movement that was happening in the U.S., in Canada. Because in Canada, there was a movement that was happening here as well. So conscious movement of knowing your history, knowing who you are. You know that all that you see in the news and the media and the books may not be as accurate. So that's the angle that he kind of taught me a lot.
So your father was very influential in you.
Very influential. The thing about it is, my mother was our friend. My mother was my best friend. But my father's like, I'm not your friend, I'm your father. Yeah, yeah. That was his stance. So he was more of a tough love, very strict. So I came up in a very strict, tough love household, but I had a lot of love. But the reason they did what they did was to protect me, to guide me. But the thing about it is, he was a very misunderstood man. I say that to say this. You either love him or you hated him. Meaning that because he's about principles, about rules. Did you do what you're supposed to do? Why do you need $5 from me? Why don't you have a piggy bank? Did you save the money I gave you last time? He's going to give it to you, but you're going to get a lecture, you're going to get the information. You're going to, every Sunday we would have Sunday dinner. All my friends would laugh at the window. Like, you have to go inside. Now I lived in Shoreham, Finch, you know? So in Finch, there was no other family like our family, you know? And people will be at the window like laughing at me, like, you know, because we have to go set the table, you know, with your fork and your knife. That's where I learned how to use my knife and fork, and it was just a principle that we just passed on.
So that ties down to our topic today about fatherhood in the Black community.
It's very
Guys,
important.
the reason why we're doing this show today is that it doesn't exist that much anymore. A lot of people don't play into the helping to train their children. For instance, my daughter Christine, I don't live with my daughter Christine, but when we get on the phone or when we see each other, when I have time to spend with my daughter, I make sure that she learns one or two things. Yes. And this little girl is only 5 years old, but she's able to keep me on the phone for 2.5 hours sometimes, 3 hours. Daddy, why can't you? I said, baby, I gotta do this. He said, Daddy, you can do that while I'm watching you. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that bond alone, you know, it means a lot. Right. It means a lot. So what I want to ask, the person I want to go to now is go back to Infinite, right? Infinite. At what point did you make up your mind that, hey, I'm going to raise my son, I'm going to be in my son's life, I'm going to guide him through, because we shot with your son. And when we were shooting with your son, we did a movie in Canada called Clash. You know, we shot with Brian Hooks, Melissa, Omani Oboli. You know, I directed, she produced with a couple of other people, Warren, and then I directed. And that's how we made, that's how I met these beautiful people, right? Good spirit. So at what point, I saw your involvement when he was acting, when he was on set, you were always there, and I can see the relationship. That's why I say, you know what, you guys are the best people to bring out here so that the blacks can see that a father can be in his son's life, they can work together as friends, they can grow together. All the mistakes, I'm sure that all the mistakes you made in the music industry, you're trying to make sure he doesn't make it. You understand what I'm saying? So at what point did you make that mind up, and since then, how has it been?
Well, going through my experiences and the mistakes I made, and I figured it out, I just wanted it to be a thing where
the mistakes you made with your dad, or the mistakes your dad made with you?
Oh no, the mistakes I made in my career.
In your career, okay.
I wouldn't even call them mistakes, like just the learning stages in my career.
Okay.
So like with those experiences, I see him coming up. Naturally, he's seeing me, you know, my videos on TV. You know, he's seeing me perform on the MMVAs and etc. Naturally, he's interested. You know, it's in his blood, right? So I would rather show him, okay, I tried that way, it didn't work. Try this way. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be around him while he's on set to tell him, yeah, that works. Like, you know, just keep him on point, you know? Kind of like a coach, but his father. You know what I'm saying? And we have a very tight bond. Like, he could talk to me about anything. There's no, you know, he's not afraid to tell me anything. And that's the kind of relationship I'd rather have with a son.
So how did you get that trust? How did, okay, I'll ask you that. So how did he gain your trust like that? Because most kids of nowadays, they don't want their father around. But I can see that you actually you hang out with your father as if he's your friend. Because I have really seen you with anybody else. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's the biggest champions.
And when you are around your dad, you're safe. You do what you want to do, and I can see that you're very comfortable around him. So how tell us a little bit of you coming.
I'm basically always learning from things that he didn't do correct. You know what I mean? And he doesn't want me to go down the same path that he did. You know? So yeah, I appreciate that. And basically our relationship is obviously growing over time. You know what I mean? And as I got older, he was able to tell me more stuff, and yeah, that's just how it came to be. So yeah.
So okay, go ahead, Ola.
So I was like, do you find, so for example, you know, like growing up, you know, half of the time, you know, sometimes kid goes to that rebellious stage of, you know, you don't want to be around your parents because they're not cool or they're not hip, they're not into what's going on. But since you do have this relationship with him and it organically grew all this time, do you find, or was there a time in your life that you kind of felt like you shifted away from the friends more towards your father, or has it been just kind of a seamless flow that your dad's your friend, right? I know you have other friends too, but what we see here, we kind of want to be able to kind of communicate how people could duplicate this, you know what I mean? And I know it's grown organically, but as a child growing up, I remember there was a time that I felt like, you know, like, oh my gosh, why is she saying that? Why is my mom doing that? I don't want to go through. But then all of a sudden, I loved being around her. I wanted to hear the stories over and over again. The same times like the stories they're telling, you know what I mean? I want, every time they're going to the store, if we're traveling, I want to go with her. Like, my mother was my best friend, you know? And I realized that again, it was organic. So I just wanted to kind of know, like, I still had my friends, but there was a balance, and I preferred being my mother.
So how do you strike that balance?
How do you find that balance?
Well, you know, I feel like, okay, so my father it's almost like I see him as my best friend always, you know what I mean? He's my father. I could talk to him about anything, and I think that parents, they're putting a limit on their child whenever they're being so strict about things. They're making them feel uncomfortable, you know what I mean? To talk about certain things. But I believe, like, if your parents are open to listen to anything you have to say, then you know what I mean, your advice, you're gonna get advice, and you're gonna, you know what I mean?
So indirectly what you're saying is that you're advising the parents out there to be open.
To be open, yeah, not to be so strict, you know what I mean? Because that makes the child feel uncomfortable, you know what I mean?
Never let your child feel like they can't talk to you about anything, because they won't talk to you about anything if that's how you're making them feel. That's the trick right there. You gotta make them feel like, let them feel open to talk to you and not afraid or embarrassed or like scared to tell you something that's big. Let them, you know what I'm saying? Let them feel like there's a spot for you. You're supposed to be like that, you know? Accept them. That's how I feel.
So what you're saying is that you made it comfortable for him to understand.
Oh, for sure.
That he can come to you with anything and you guys can talk about it.
Yes, because
that's how the bond was.
That's what helped it get to where we're at right now. Because I didn't want to scare him and make him think like, what are you doing? Like, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of parents like that. That's the problem.
So I made it feel like, okay, it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he can come to me and tell me about whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I can add to that. It's just like, I remember this. As the saying my mom used to say, bad or good, you tell me first.
Yeah.
And she meant bad or good.
Yeah.
Meaning, if they're coming to my door, if the police is coming to my door, tell me first.
You see, the thing about it, Dashawn had the opportunity to go left. You know what I mean? He'd been around the gangs and the gangsters. He's seen that life and he had an opportunity to go that way. So him taking that step and making a right turn instead was actually a strong move on his part. You know what I mean? He could have went that way and went down the wrong path. You know what I mean? So me being there helped mold, you know, and showing him certain friends that I have. He knows some of my friends and even people that just made bad decisions out there in the world. So he didn't want to go that route. He knew what that was about. It's not about being cool. That's the road we're taking. It's not about being cool here. You know what I'm saying?
So most people go that route, they do to be cool.
A lot of people think it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they don't understand why people are actually making certain decisions because they don't have a choice.
They think what is cool?
They think
Gang banging.
They think,
what is it?
well, number one, people are gang banging for the wrong reasons. There is no right reason. Let me make that straight. But I mean, when somebody takes somebody's life and then they want to go back and get that one's life and get that for his friend, and you know what I mean. But it's all about being successful, you know. And war doesn't make money. You understand what I'm saying? And he growing up watching and listening to me, schooling him on this type of stuff. I'm very proud of him, you know, because he's taken a certain route. Like my brother, rest in peace, Squigs, you know what I mean? He seen the decisions and, you know, how that went, you know, having the power at that time and then losing everything, you know what I mean? It hit our family. So, I mean, the film, the music industry, doing things a certain way, I'm very proud of him.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy to hear a father sitting next to the son, so I'm very proud of it because not a lot of black fathers can do that, and not a lot of black fathers in the black community you see sit like this with their son.
Yeah, and you guys need to be more in your kids' life. If you can't be there financially, be there to mold them and direct them which way to go, because they need that. They need that. If you don't have money, you can still be there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, it's gonna make a big difference. Just you might have your child thinking to go that way. Keep them on the right path. It's gonna make a big difference. Just trust me when I tell you. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what advice do you give to people like me? Now I live in Canada. My daughter Christine lives in U.S. So most of the times we have to talk on the phone. What do you advise? How do a father be in the life of the child or the children at that level, not living in the same country with them?
Not living in the same country? Well, you see, now we have...
Because I know there's a lot of fathers out there like me who don't live in the same country with their children. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Wi-Fi is the best thing in our age right now. You know what I mean? When you can talk to, FaceTime, as long as you communicate with them, they could hear you. So you can still teach them over the phone and tell them, make sure, encourage them. Do schoolwork, you know, friends is cool, but to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta have your wall up. You know, the trust level. A lot of people let their guards down. You know what I mean? So I mean, just be in your kid's life, whether it's WhatsApp or whatever. If you're talking to them overseas, just stay in contact with them. Communication is very, very big and very important.
How often do you think that a father or a mom who doesn't live with a kid in the same country, how often do you think that they should communicate to be able to build the same relationship you do with your own son living physically with him in the same place?
You know, I talk to my son like every day.
So you know these questions I'm asking? I'm asking these questions for the viewers out there. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people are in my own situation. So I'm using me as a control experiment, using my own situation to answer the questions. Because I'm not ashamed of my situation, you understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of people at least don't live in the same country with their people. They don't live in the same house with the people. So this is the reality of life. And as a black man, I'm asking the question so that other black people, like us, even white, green, yellow, it doesn't matter, human beings are human beings. Then that's why I'm asking you the question, because if there's an award to be given, I think you should be given an award for the best father of the year. I'm well traveled. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think you know how much travel I've done in my life. I'm well traveled. And I will never forget about you and your relationship with your son. I talk about it even when you guys are not there. So that's why I said we need to bring you on the show. So more advice.
We actually spend a lot of time together. Like when I'm going out to do certain things, if I'm in the studio, one time you're gonna see him in the studio. If I'm on set, he's probably gonna be on set. If he's on set, I'm gonna be on set. Same thing. If I'm watching the Super Bowl, you're most likely to see him with me. NBA All-Star game, same thing. You know, so we spend a lot of time together still, you know. So I mean, the way he thinks is not like the average person his age. He thinks more mature. And that's
because
what I like
it's around you.
Surroundings.
You spend more time with you.
I mean, you hang with fools, you're gonna act like fools.
That's right.
You know, if you hang with somebody that's wise, you're gonna be more wiser than the person your average age.
Show me your company, show you who you are, right? So
you know why I'm listening and I'm just looking at you and I'm admiring because you remind me of our own relationship growing up with our dad.
Okay.
Our father was a big boy. Big boy, serious big boy, but he spent a lot of time with us. Everything we know today, myself, my brothers, my sisters, majority of our lifestyle, majority of what we do, majority of the character you see in me, that's my father's character. Decision making, but anywhere, you know, leadership skills, we learn from him. Now, my father was a go-getter, so that's why I'm just looking at you because now, do you know what is going to happen? Is that we are going to try to train our children. The same way my father trained us. The only difference now is that our father trained us in Nigeria where the system was different, but now we are overseas. You know, scattered overseas. You see, so but we still, you can still see that core value. You know, so I thank God for someone like you, and I want to ask before we almost go into completion now. What is your advice to young kids out there? What do they have to do? How do they have to behave? What do you have to sacrifice to have a relationship with your dad, the same way you have with your dad? Because if 80% of the black kids out there in the world can have the same relationship you have with your dad, with their dad, I think the black community will go far.
we'll be in a much better
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what is your advice to the kids, to the young kids out there?
For the young kids, like kind of like what my father was saying, you know, kind of try to stay connected, you know what I mean? Because staying connected is very important, you know, that's how relationships are built. And, you know, obviously trust, loyalty, you know, all of that stuff. So I believe that the more time you spend with a person, the relationship is always built in you, you know? It goes through different stages, relationships always go through different stages. So what you want to do is reach that level where you can feel comfortable to, you know what I mean? Exchange information, or, you know, even look for advice, something that you're not comfortable about, you're able to talk to your parents about that stuff, you know? So, yeah.
So if you were to go back and replay or redo, would you do it the same way, or is there any other way you would have preferred?
Definitely, I'll do it this exact same way that I've been doing, you know? Because, there's nothing really
You're a student now, right?
Yeah, I'm a student right now.
What are you studying?
I'm studying business management right now.
Where?
In the college.
In the
Are
college.
you in college?
Yeah, and it makes sense, you know what I mean? Because,
So you're still doing your rap music, you're still doing acting, and you're in college.
I'm in college, I read a lot of books, you know, and I don't limit myself, and that's where the name Infinite, you know, originates.
Okay, so you took it from your dad.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
He actually reads a lot too. He's a very smart. I'm telling you, for his age, it's not. You wouldn't expect that from somebody his age.
If you don't mind, how old are you, bro?
I'm 21.
You're 21.
Yeah.
You're 21. You're in the university already. You're in college.
Yeah.
You do music. Of course, you played a co-lead in the movie with your child.
Yeah.
You have a good relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah, I have a girlfriend.
You have a girlfriend?
Oh,
Okay,
it's
okay.
gotta
So,
go.
other people out there, looking out there. He's already,
That's what you want to do, right? So the ladies, I'm sure.
he's already thinking, you know.
Yeah.
So, Infinite. Let's get back to you again.
Right.
What is your last conclusion, your last advice to the fathers out there, black fathers out there, white, green, doesn't matter, to build this kind of relationship that people admire,
Right.
that I admire, she admires,
Right.
right? What do they have to give to make this happen?
Well, you know, like we were talking about, just be open and embrace them. I mean, remember, we made mistakes too. They're gonna make mistakes. So deal with it a way where they could come to you and tell you they messed up again. You know what I'm saying? So just trust them, man. Just, you know, and for the kids too, you gotta let your parents trust you. You gotta be loyal to your pops and your moms. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways for the father and the mothers. Shout out all the mothers that are doing their job, and all the fathers that are doing their job. Yo, I take my hat off to you. You know what I mean? It's not an easy job, but don't just let them go.
No.
They're still your kids. If they make a bad decision, you're gonna go through that teenage phase where they rebel. But we went through it, so you know that it's gonna come back.
Yeah, for real.
We don't regret going through that because that's how we learn. You know, we're gonna make mistakes to be how we are now. You know what I'm saying? So just stick with it, man. Stick with your kids, man.
Yeah, Infinite, I'm not trying to cut you off. I did speak with somebody one time. He said, oh, because I don't have money, I can't be a dad if I don't have money. Does he have to deal with money?
He doesn't have to deal with money. Like, I don't know what arrangements, some other parents make different arrangements with their child. So, I mean, if you don't have money, contribute in other ways. Be in their life in another way. You're there physically, you have a different type of effect on your child. I mean, money, they don't even see the money. To be honest with you, they don't even see the money. They more see you when you're there. So you gotta be there. If you don't have money, just be there. That's gonna make a big difference, man.
Okay. So, Ola, do you have any question you want to ask either Infinite or Lil Infinite? Do you have any
They've
question
said
you
it
wanna
all. My heart feels full. The funny thing is I'm sitting here, I'm smiling, and my heart feels full just even with just the information that you guys shared. So not a specific question, just a comment, just saying keep up what you guys are doing, you know what I mean? If more people just take this example, the world will be a better place. I'll just touch on what Pascal touched on earlier. And it's because, you know, when we're shooting our feature film and everything, just the relationship, even every time we were there, we were there for like 14 hours sometimes on set.
Watching you guys.
14 hours on set for the people that are acting and working, much less for Infinite coming to the set to support his son and just smiling the entire time. Like he was just cool, like, you want something? You want me to help with this? I would ask, you know, so it's just that humble vibe, you know, so just keep being you guys, you know what I mean? And I know you guys are gonna continue and I know this is gonna encourage others, you know, fathers that are doing it and mothers are doing it presently, and those who are not and realize, you know what, maybe I could tighten up on this, because what you said a while ago in regards to the money, you know, the money's there, amazing, but the kid remembers just your presence. They remember the time you took them ice skating. They remember the time you came to the school play. They remember the time you called them, or you saw them on Skype, and you know, my daddy called me on my birthday. You know what I mean? He sang me happy birthday. See, those are the things we remember. I remember, you know, and I think that's what I would just love to continue to encourage, and just that's the conclusion I'd love to add to this.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But what you're saying, I mean, it brings out that thought where even if you're embarrassed, or if you did something embarrassed, or if you were missing at a certain point of the child's life, remember, the last impression is the impression that they remember. So you can fix that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if you messed up, you feel like you messed up where the child's concerned, you could erase that by just starting brand new. Every day you get up, you can start a brand new day. You know what I'm saying? So you can refresh that and just be in your child's life. What were you going to say, Pascal?
No, what I was going to say, you know, she thought something about being in a bad day, calling a bad day and that stuff. You know, my daughter's birthday was this last month, January 4th, and I was in Nigeria walking. So my daughter sent me a video. You know what the video said? It said, Daddy, I know you're in Nigeria walking, but my next birthday, Daddy, you have to be there.
Okay.
She didn't care about the gifts, she didn't care about whatever. She did thank you, say, Daddy, thank you for the gifts, and but Daddy, my next birthday, you have to be there. I looked at that video, I said, I told my brother, I said, you know what, these guys I'm doing this show for. You need to let them know I can't be here next year for this show.
Yeah. What's her birthday? Which day is she born?
January 4th.
Okay, wow.
Right, so and January 4th for our career is very tough time. That's because I work almost every Christmas going into because I do the talent show, the talent show.
Yeah.
But I say, you know what? When I looked at that video, it's like she was warning me, like, Daddy, I don't want no gift. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't want this. Daddy, my next birthday, you have to be there.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I looked at that, I was like, wow, this girl don't want no money or nothing.
No.
So you understand? So I told my brother, I said, you know what?
Daddy's girl.
They're coming next. At least if I go to this birthday, then maybe I can buy me another 2 years.
Yes.
I know that this birthday, I have to be at home. I have to be with her for this birthday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is very, very important.
Oh,
so now,
absolutely.
Infinite, let me ask you a question. How can people reach you? How can people reach out? Because I know there's some young kids out there, even though you have a girlfriend, they still want to reach out to you to at least ask you questions. How can they reach you on social media? Or how do people reach you?
Well, I know everybody has Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at infinite_LD. That's NIFINITE_LD. You know what I'm saying? And you can also reach me on Twitter too at infinite_LDC. You know what I mean? But I'm more on Instagram. You know what I mean? I'm kind of guilty with that Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm not really, I should follow.
You're not like Donald Trump.
No.
You don't sleep on Twitter.
I'm on Instagram more.
So how do they reach you out there?
You can reach me at Instagram, Dashawn.Francis, DASHAWN.FRANCIS. So Dashawn.Francis. You can reach me at that, or you can reach me at Twitter too, at Dashawn.Francis. Same thing. So,
Okay, that's cool. And Ola, how do they reach you?
They can reach me on Instagram, that's the best way, Ola George _ on Instagram, Facebook, Ola George, LinkedIn, all of the typical social medias I'm presently on.
Okay, of course, myself, you guys know how to reach me. It's Pascal Atuma, PASCAL ATUMA, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook fan page. That's what it is, So I'm gonna say today it's been a very beautiful show. Infinite, thank you for coming. Infinite, thank you for coming, and we really appreciate you guys. And for those people out there, fathers out there, we need more people like Infinite in the black community. Because if my father didn't train me good, if his father didn't do his job, if the father didn't do his job, we would not be sitting down here today with another young man that's grown up the right way. He's got a girlfriend though. But I know
that is the right way.
Yeah, that's by the right way. But I know that whoever is going to marry you, when you have children, that you're going to want to do even better than your father did. So that's what we're looking for. Good fathers out there, because good fathers out there will help us create more Obamas, will help us create more Nelson Mandelas, we will also help us create more Martin Luther Kings, those people who can stand and stand for the black culture and stand for humanity. With that, we'll say thank you for coming. House of Commons.
Thank you.
House of Commons. Thank you. Well, we're going to bring you guys back some other time, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? You guys are going to come back, right?
For sure.
Next week.
Peace.
Yeah.
Aye.